Hi, welcome to another episode of Soul Conversations with Betty Dang, where we talk about powerful things that are happening in this world and we bring on guests that are doing impactful work that is changing America. This episode is about freedom in America, and we're celebrating 250 years in America. And today I have Tammy McCotter. She's from Maryland, right? Yes, she's here from Maryland and she works in a very tough facility. She's going to tell you about it. But today we're going to talk about freedom, losing the right to freedom, and regaining that freedom in America because we see a lot of social injustice that puts us in places that, especially the underprivileged communities. So let's introduce Tammy and let's hear her a little story about her.
It is such an honor to be with you, Miss Dane. My name is Tammy McCotter. I am a veteran of the criminal justice system. I've been working in this system as of October the 24th of this year, will actually make 28 years. My career spans from corrections to juvenile justice to police and detention. So I've worked in every field of criminal justice except probation parole.
Oh, wow. You have a vast of experience then. You've seen a lot in your career.
Absolutely. I am honored because the one thing that I understand about criminal justice is this is that there is no real reform unless reform starts behind the prison walls.
Yes.
Giving a person an opportunity once they get out
Yes.
and offering them an opportunity once they get out without a real mindset shift is not an opportunity. It's just a
No.
handout.
It is. We
Yeah.
need more. I work for Community Partners in Action, which has been around for 150 years. It's the oldest. It used to be called Friends of Prisoners Association. And what they do is they try to bring humanity back to the prisoners so that they're treated like humans. We have alternative programs for youths and for men and women that are get out of the system. We have resource centers in Connecticut that help them get their food, their housing, and just opening a bank account, getting their IDs. It's a very hard process because our jail system doesn't do any of those processing. Once you're done, you're out. And I think that prison should be a place where they should get re-educated so they can adapt to the community.
Absolutely. There should be a set of skills
Hmm.
that are mandatory that should be taught within the detention, corrections, and juvenile facilities. And
Hmm.
those are basic life skills. You have people getting out of corrections that have been locked up 20, 30, sometimes 40 years. They
Hmm.
don't know how to procure a social security card. They don't know how, if they don't have two types of ID, they can't get this. If they don't have that, they can't get this. If they don't have this, then they can't procure housing. Some of them families are gone. They need to know the changing systems. Before
Yes.
it was people going to prison not knowing how to use a cell phone. People are getting out now not knowing about AI and computers.
Yes, that is a big thing. It's 'cause with the computers, it's a big thing because now everything is online, everything is through a phone, and you need a phone to get everywhere. You need a phone to get called.
You
And
absolutely
it's
do.
really hard. I just can't imagine what these people are going through. I worked with just getting back into the community and letting go of that shame is a hard thing. And then getting the resources. What do you think people struggle with the most when they get out of the prison?
For anyone that has really been locked up or incarcerated over any amount of time, I would say more than 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
there is something called post-incarceration syndrome that most
Uh,
people suffer with that they
mm-hmm.
don't know how to articulate.
Mm-hmm.
Family members see it and they're like, well, you're out now. Why are you staying in the house? Why do you want to stay in that room? Why are you getting up at this time? Why are you doing? Because they have become indoctrinated and
Yes.
don't know how to break that cycle. And
Yes, it is becomes a pattern.
it does. And it is a sign of mental illness.
It is. I've been in and out of the mental hospital for anxiety. So I
Uh-huh.
know there are people that come out of the system and they come into the hospitals, but they're not getting the help to readjust their life because they're not being acknowledged for the traumas that they've experienced, especially jail. My friend went to jail in Florida for something that wasn't very criminal. He just let the mafia park cars in his garage,
Mhm.
but he went to jail and he got stabbed twice. And he's a very calm guy. He's the manager of Marriott. He's not like a criminal. He's just made mistakes in his life. And when he got out, he didn't couldn't get a job and he couldn't get anything and he just started working construction again or escorting.
Yeah, it is most people never talk about post traumatic stress as it relates to being incarcerated. That is
Yes,
a real thing.
it
It
is.
really is. And while I when I say that, I also mean for the people that work there. They don't talk about the countless officers that are going through post-traumatic stress syndrome as well for what they encounter behind the prison wall. It is a very violent, a
Hmm.
very negative, a very detrimental well-being place. I
Yes.
worked in it for 28 years. I know. And if
Hmm.
you don't do things as the staff there to build your mental wellness, then you go and interact with the constituents in which you serve, and
Hmm.
there's no mental wellness with them. It is a one clash behind the other,
Yeah.
and so it is imperative if we want to change the system, then we need to change the system. We need to
Yes.
understand that, yes, some people need to be there. I will not be the one to say everyone that is in there is bad. That's not what I'm saying. But there are some people that incarceration is what they need.
Yes.
However, even though it is what they need, they still need the programs to be productive people.
Yes. They need to be more productive. How based on your experience in the system of 28 years, do you think the system would be open to bringing more mental health programs, especially like holistic therapies that are low cost and that can help manage the emotions that these prisoners are going through?
That is a catch 22 question. And the
I'm
reason why I say
sorry.
that, and no, the reason why I say that is because they want the programming, but they don't want to pay the funding.
Yes. I know, like,
Everything cannot be a volunteer program. They look for volunteers, but you got to understand what they have to understand, that you're putting your life, your life forces, your energy, your,
mm-hmm.
your resources into building a program that is successful, then you should be compensated for it. Now, will you
Yes.
be a millionaire doing that? No, some people have uh, glitched the system and
Mm-hmm.
they're millionaires, and they make those the superstars of the program. However, they're not. There's so many of us out here that want to get back into the system because we see a need and can provide a service. But if you don't have that say you are, is what I call it. If you're not connected to the right people, the
Yes.
doors don't open for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, it's such a tough world because I know, like, I use essential oils
Mhm.
and it's a business. And it doesn't cost a lot to diffuse oils in the cells or in the common areas to calm the patients, not patients, but calm the incarcerated people down. They breathing in the smells of flowers and trees and stuff. It gives them an experience of an outside world so they're not in concrete all the time. And it calms you down instantly. It's like a 20-second calm down. I think that if we could put that into our systems, we would really reduce the amount of violence that we see in the incarceration and facilities.
Most of the correctional facilities that exist today, minus a few, are older correctional facilities.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem that they would have with that is the ventilation system,
Yes.
because most of them are not aerated.
Mm-hmm.
The air is circulated
Oh,
within the facility. Most
yes.
of them do not. Most of the state facilities, ran facilities, don't have air.
Oh, wow.
You have some in some states, but for the majority of a lot of these older prisons, they don't have air. They do not have air conditioning.
Well, the diffuser would diffuse the essential oils, and the essential oils are antibiotic.
Mhm.
So it would create a sterile environment and you could breathe. But if there's no air, there's no circulation of the essential oils, that would be a problem as well. I could see why it's a big problem. There's just so much, I see so much money poured into things that is not helping the community when it should be invested into our youth. And our youth is in a lot of trouble nowadays. They're just they don't have guidance, I think. I think first, what I see in America is that the divorce rate is 73%. That means these
Absolutely.
kids are not growing up in families that are stable. So they're breaking out and then kids get recruited by gangs so fast and they're pressured into being in these gangs. And this is where trouble starts. I had friends in high school who got drunk or high one night and decided to rob a store. In that store, he got shot because the owner had a gun and he was gone like that. It was just something stupid, and all of a sudden you're gone.
Absolutely. I think, and I may be shooting myself in the mouth for this, but it is a firm belief of mine. My generation, because I'm over 50,
Mm-hmm.
in my generation, our parents didn't have much,
Mm-hmm.
but they instilled in us work ethic,
Yes, work ethic.
and they instilled in us, or tried to instill in us, values and love.
Yes.
My generation, my generation, I blame a lot of this on my generation. When
Yes.
we started having kids, the majority of the people, I can honestly tell you, not me, but the majority of the people that are my age that had kids said the first thing that came out of their mouth: when I have kids, they will never work as hard as I worked. And so they
Uh-huh.
started giving versus teaching them to earn,
Yes.
causing them to be entitled.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next generation, which is my children's ages, in their 38s
Yes.
ages, they started doing the exact same thing, not teaching them
Mm-hmm.
certain values.
Yes.
So now you have a generation that stemmed from my generation
Mm-hmm.
of entitlement, because,
Yes.
oh, yeah, I work too hard, I would never make my kids work like that. So
Mm-hmm.
then they gave. Then that generation felt entitled, and they
Mm-hmm.
they had more access to more things,
Mm-hmm.
because more knowledge. That's when the technical, the the internet, the Wi-Fi. So they were more technical savvy,
Mm-hmm.
school savvy, book smart. So they entered into the economy making more money than our generation so they could give their kids more. And the
Yes.
more they gave their kids, now those kids are entitled. If you got it,
Yeah, they
I
spend
want it,
money like crazy.
I'm
I
going to
went,
take it.
huh?
They feel entitled that if you
They
have it,
are dressed like
they
I
feel
went to this
entitled.
coffee shop. It was a Friday, it was on Thursday night. It was a coffee shop.
Uh-huh.
It was a cannabis and coffee get together at night at this local coffee shop. And my friend and I are in our 40s, and
Uh-huh.
we felt we were overdressed and we were so old because we had long sleeves on and everything. And these girls showed up in bikini. It looked like bikini. There was like literally underwear with their ass still hanging out and their boobs hanging out, and they were all tight and they were all young. They were, they had attitude, they had fun, they had all that stuff. And they weren't like messing with the men or anything like that, but the way they were dressed was so provocative.
Absolutely, because it is an entitled generation,
Yes.
and the thing that my generation doesn't want to admit is that they had a hand in it.
Yes, I grew
They
up
had a
in a
hand in it.
generation where the teachers and the mothers said boys will be boys, and they didn't discipline the boys. And that's
Yep.
why we have people like President Clinton who thinks it's okay to rape 22-year-olds.
Yeah.
And the whole country still supports him. I don't understand that at all.
Well, it is so disheartening because the generation that we're dealing with now,
Hmm.
that is all that they know. So how can we blame them when we were the ones that aided them?
Yes.
We were their
How
drug
can
of
we fix it?
choice.
I don't know how we can fix it because there are so many of them. I can't believe how I get I do politics, so I joined Gavin Newsom's fan groups to see what the Democrats were talking about, and
Mhm.
they are so disrespectful to Trump. They have no clue why they vote for certain presidents. And when I ask them why, they don't have a real answer. They just say stuff like that. And if I tell them that, well, Obama sold you to China, they're like, that's propaganda. That's not right. But China is, if you look at China, they're rich. They have lights, their cities are lit up like 30, 50. I keep
I
posting,
I think when it comes, my personal opinion, when it comes to politics,
hmm,
you don't have one perfect candidate.
no,
But when you have a candidate that is clearly dividing the country
hmm,
based upon the fundamental values that the country was built upon,
hmm.
then I could never support a candidate like that.
How do you feel?
The
Uh-huh.
United States was always called, when I grew up, the
Hmm.
Great Salad Bowl. That
Yes.
means people from every country were welcome.
Hmm.
Whether you a lettuce, a tomato, or a cucumber, we showed
Yes, like the
up
melting
in the
pot.
bowl.
Maryland is known as the melting pot. I
Exactly.
love Baltimore. There's so many nice restaurants
Exactly.
on the harbor. Baltimore
So,
is a very nice city to
but
visit.
now it is divided against itself.
Hmm.
How can you say that immigrants are not welcome in a country that immigrants help build?
I don't think it's the
So
fact that the
I don't,
immigrants are
I
not
don't, I
welcome. I
don't,
think
I
it's the,
can never support him. I would never,
I
because
don't think,
he does not stand for what this country was originally founded for.
yes, I
And
do
that was a
understand
place where
that.
everyone could find their freedom and meet
Hmm.
their dream and their goal.
Yes. I think that the problem isn't the fact that we don't welcome immigrants. It's the fact that we have supported so many immigrants and there's so many illegal aliens in the country right now that are taking a lot of the resources that could be used for the people in America.
I don't believe that because the majority of the money that is wasted in this country
Mm-hmm.
has been wasted by Americans. You
Yes.
have you if you Google this, you'll see what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
They just did a big federal bust
Mm-hmm.
on food stamp fraud.
Yes.
And they had people in America driving Mercedes, Maybachs, BMWs, living in $1 million homes. Those were not immigrants. Those were not illegals. Those were homegrown criminals. So
Oh.
when you look at society,
Mm-hmm.
you have bad home and
Mm-hmm.
you have bad abroad. And you
Yes.
can't just say that it's one demographic or it's one
No.
certain set of people. You can't say that it is the illegal, or you can't say if it's the illegals, then deal with those illegals. But
Mm-hmm.
you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
No, you can't.
So
I mean, I don't like I mean, this has been happening since Obama's time. So it's not like something new. But
right.
we haven't been I don't think we treat the people who come from Mexico, who are at the border of Mexico, we should treat them a lot better because they're to me, they are a workforce that we could bring into America.
Mhm.
But
I just think we should treat people across the board better.
yes.
I won't necessarily say the Hispanic, the Latino, the Asian, the
Mhm.
the the Korean, the African, the
Yes.
Haitian. We should treat people
We should treat
across the
people better. I
board
agree with you. I
better
agree with you. If we
because
treat
this
people
country,
better,
right, it
mhm.
was founded upon the premise that when you came to America,
Yes.
you could build that dream and that life that you could not get in your other country if you worked hard enough.
Yes.
And that is the only thing I want to see our country get back to, because if we get back to that, we'll get back to the fundamental foundation of unity and love, and that's the only thing that's going to
Yes.
this country.
I do
That's
agree with you because I think removing it's such a hard job to remove them now. I think that we should try to create a system where they can become workers and pay taxes and have a life here in America because they're already here. To deport them, even though to leave peacefully, they can leave. There's a program that the government does give you $2,600 flight credit to leave the country peacefully if you've been here illegally. And I think that's a very generous offer. But it's such a tough choice because we are so divided.
absolutely, we are. We're divided over the minuscule things in life when we
Mhm.
have generations and generations of people that are starving, that
Mhm.
are homeless, that are suffering with mental illness,
Mhm.
that are schizophrenic, that are hopeless and helpless, and we're
Mhm.
focusing on minute things
Yes.
when the bigger picture is gone is not even being focused on.
Yes. It isn't. Our
Yeah,
healthcare system is failing us. I just I just read an article about the fraud from Obamacare.
mhm.
Over 3 million people were enrolled that were not eligible for Obamacare.
Mhm.
So it's a tough country. This is,
I read an article like that, and that's not what I read.
oh,
What I
really?
read was is that there was thir- three 3 million, 3.5 million to be
Mm-hmm.
exact. I was getting ready to pull it up on my computer, but 3.5 million
Mhm.
people that were actually enlisted, and those people um, through the Medicaid fraud, people were trying to overbill them because they did have Obama insurance. So
Oh,
it wasn't fraud towards Obama insurance. It was people that had these services
oh,
that were
okay.
trying to milk the federal government.
Yes. Yes, that's a big issue right now because
Yeah.
everything in the mental hospitals and everything is based on insurance. They don't have anything to help you if it's not with insurance. Yeah. Tammy, you're on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, and they were double billing, they were overbilling people, they
Mhm.
were billing people for services like the COVID. They were billing
Mhm.
different hospitals and stuff for supplies that they weren't even sending.
Oh
So
wow.
it wasn't Obamacare fraud, it was the people that were billing or sending or trying to
Yes,
get
they're
money.
the one taking advantage of the system.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that is I I really don't understand that because we live in such a free world and we have all these resources to help us. Like, if you work hard, you do get rewarded. I was raised with those ideals, like you said. You were raised with those same ideals and you work hard for where you are today. And you're a very intelligent woman, so you understand the world, how the world works. I just it's very sad to see this is not our usual conversation, but it's a soul conversation because this is a conversation that touches my soul because I want to help America become a greater country and I want to help people understand that. But I feel like with our conversation now, this it's very divided and it's very hard to get people to understand that. And it's going to take a lot of work to get people to change their minds.
It You said the optimal word. It's going to take work.
Yes.
It is going to take work, and the most work or the most valuable work it's going to take is communication.
Yes.
Nobody's willing to listen.
No. No one's willing to listen
Yeah.
anymore. It has to be like they're all going through phases, but what I've learned in the last week that I've seen the reality is that we just need to stay in our lane and keep rising and keep helping the people that want to be helped. And eventually, that what you help one person can help five people, and five people will help 25 people. And that's how you multiply the impact.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I always tell people, this is what I always tell them: help to the capacity that you have.
Yes.
Don't try to help past your capacity because that will cause you anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
But help in the capacity that you can help.
Yes.
That way you're doing it from a pure heart
Mm-hmm.
and it'll be received.
Yes.
But always be willing to be open to listen and learn
Yes.
just as much as you are willing to um to teach someone else. You have to be willing to learn from someone
Yes.
too.
You do have to be open-minded and you have to learn. So, wow, this has been such a great conversation and it's given me such perspective on what's going on with this country. So, do you have any other thoughts you would like to share with us, Tammy?
I have absolutely enjoyed this conversation as well. I'm very, very passionate as it relates to, you know, things that bring about unity and love,
Mm-hmm.
things that bring about understanding, whether we agree or not.
Yes.
For me, it's never about agreement. It's all about the conversation. Because
Yes.
if we can have the hard conversations, we can get to a place where we can eventually work to find a
Mm-hmm.
solution. But if we can't even have the hard conversation,
Yes.
there would never be a solution.
No, these are conversations that we need to bring out and talk about because some people are so stuck into their fake news that they don't want to have conversations. I've started
Absolutely.
to unfriend people who just don't make any sense in their posts about politics because it shows that they don't follow anything and they're not showing anything. I do understand that you don't support Trump, which is fine, and that's your right to do it because you see it in your view and I don't I I worked at the top 1%, so I understand his goals is on a world affair goals, but as a community level, I've gone homeless before. I know what the struggle is like to go through that post-traumatic stress order, to rebuild yourself and to go back into it. And I allowed myself to go homeless at that point because I wanted to understand better how to help people. And I met a lot of people that got out of the system that were homeless. And my friend, she is such a sweetheart. She took in people from all over the country. She was in Colorado and she took people in and they slept on the couch, they mowed the lawn, she gave them food to eat. But that they lacked the ethics to work hard to build something for themselves. They wanted a handout.
Yeah, you like I said earlier, when it comes to post-incarcerated syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
it takes on many different aspects.
Yes.
And someone once said to someone, they said they seem like all they want to do is go back to jail. They love being in prison. They love, but has anybody ever asked why?
Because it's safe. It's not safe, but it's routine.
It ain't even that. It is that post-incarcerated syndrome that they're
Mm-hmm.
dealing with, and that is mostly all they know. They feel like they are somebody behind that wall.
Uh-huh.
So why not teach them who they are
Yes.
and provide the skills, the mindset shift,
Mm-hmm.
the ability to have a wellness
Yes.
way of thinking about everything
Mm-hmm.
outside of your biases and your opinions,
Mm-hmm.
and that is what causes them to thrive.
Yes.
I've seen people return back to prison over and over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be because they were homeless and didn't have anywhere to go, so they would do just enough that they would get locked up over the winter, get
Uh-huh.
released during the summer, get locked up again during the winter, so they would have food and
Oh.
somewhere to lay their head. Or it could be the fact that that's all they know. They've been in the
Yeah.
system for so long that this is all they know,
Yeah, that's
but
true.
nobody's asking the right questions
Mm-hmm.
to get the right answer to formulate a solution.
That gives me a lot to think about because I need to start asking more questions.
Absolutely. I believe in asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
You ask questions, you're going to get 20 different opinions,
Yes.
but somewhere in between those opinions is the truth.
Yes. You need
But
to
if you
look
don't
at
ask the
more than one
question,
perspective to listen to the truth.
absolutely. But if you don't ask the questions, you won't get the
Mm-hmm.
response. You will still go with what your opinion of the situation is. And the truth is, it's narrow.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, we just need to ask more questions.
Yes, I think that's a good way. So if you have any questions you need to ask, I think you should ask them when it comes up because it opens up the conversation. It might not be the answers you're looking for, but it's a start. And it's a start to
Absolutely.
understanding and listening, to actively listen when you ask a question. This is something I had to learn with my sales coach to reinforce me to listen carefully when I ask a question so that I can understand where the other person is coming from.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Because, you may get a lot of um, weeds in the briar is what we call it in North Carolina. But
Uh-huh.
amongst those briar and those weeds, sometimes you'll find a beautiful flower.
Yes.
But most people never look. They see weeds and briar.
Mm-hmm.
So by
Yeah.
all means, ask the questions.
Yes. It is. So I think this is a good end to our conversation because if we could go on, we could probably go on forever, Tammy. But
Absolutely.
I would love to revisit this conversation in a year or two, in a couple months, to see if we can get any change or impact, and maybe bring on some more people onto the conversations to open up the conversations a little bit more.
Absolutely. I would love that.
Yes, I would love that too. Thank you so much, Tammy, for your time. And I see that you're a doctor. Can you tell me a little bit more about your doctorate?
So I have 6 honorary doctoral degrees.
Oh my God. Like I said, you're a very intelligent woman.
From 3 different entities. Um, they were given to me for humanity, for the work that I've done in corrections and in the community, working with reentry,
Mm-hmm.
working with at-risk youth, and
Mm-hmm.
working with the homeless.
Wow.
And I absolutely take them as a distinguished honor.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, when they see that, they're like, well, that's not academic. It's not academic, so it doesn't count. Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. It
You
takes more than academics to do the work that you do. It doesn't take,
absolutely,
because it's not just being a book smart. You have to be quick, you have to be intuitive, you have to be emotionally connected to people and understand where they're coming from, and you have to respond fast because these people
absolutely.
are on like that.
That's exactly right. So I am very honored that they were bestowed upon me. But if I could I please direct your listeners
Mm-hmm.
to my website?
Of course,
Um,
of
I
course.
I am an author. I
Mm-hmm.
have I actually have 3 books. One is an anthology, but 2 that I wrote myself. One is called You Are a Designer's Original.
Mm-hmm.
It talks about your purpose and
Mm-hmm.
what you were created for. No matter what you've been through, the traumas, the hurts, the disappointments, you were still created for greatness.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That
one.
sounds like a lovely book.
And then the second book is called The 367 Life, Living Life on Purpose, 365 days of the year and twice on Sunday. And that book talks about how to maintain your peace, your joy, your inner well-being, your spiritual foundation
Mm-hmm.
through the gift of silence,
Yes.
through the gift of permeability. Not
Mm-hmm.
everyone should be ushered into your life.
Yes.
I call that permeability.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing who you are bringing into your life. Those books can be found on Amazon.com.
All right.
Um,
I'll list the name of the books on the below. I'll look it up and I'll look up and I'll send the
okay, and
link
you will
under the
find
book.
them under my name.
All right. I will definitely. That's so great that you've written all these books. It's such an inspiration. I think it's so important to write your stories and share them with other people. I would love to buy a set of these books and give it to my nonprofit because I think they would love to read these books.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure
Yes,
being on
Tammy.
your show. And my prayer is that, that there is some listener out there that has a curious heart, a
Mm-hmm.
curious mind, and that it will ignite it to start asking questions.
Yes. Yes. So let's keep curious. This is what we're going to take away from the show today is to keep curious and start asking questions so that you can make sense of things and that you don't just rely on the things that people say and tell you. You should use your thinking skills. All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Tammy. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I really, really appreciate it. I'm so honored to have you on my show.
And you do the same. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.